Hello, everybody. Today is Monday, and it's the 7th of June. And as many of you are preparing to either have already started your summer vacation or about to start your summer vacation, I hope you found a sense of freedom that you didn't have last June. I know I did. You know, uh, David and I have been doing this now for about 5, 6 months, running 3 days a week. And, I got to tell you, uh, you know, David Solomon in Montreal, and I'm Stuart Brisgell in South Florida. And we inherently find topics that are just off the wall and just out there. And this is one of these topics. David is a good, long friend of mine who's sitting there very quiet because I've done an abnormal introduction. Because normally I get into the same old, but I kind of feel different today. And I'm going to let David introduce the topic, and we're going to just go from there.
Stuart, welcome back to, I know you missed out on Friday. We all missed you. Love you, buddy. But folks, I'm going to tell you that the last few months since we started this, and this is our 40th rant, the craziest thing that I've seen from people has been the response to when we talk about race. It is a highly charged topic. It is everywhere in the Western world. It seems like all everybody's consumed with is race. And what we've seen in the last, let's just go 12 months, we've seen the reemergence of the Black Lives Movement. Whether you agree with them or not, it didn't matter. People marched with the Black Lives Movement, regardless of what they stood for, thinking that it was about creating some sort of equality for the Black community, to get rid of the hate, the police brutality, whatever it was. But it didn't matter. If you looked at the people who stood and walked with the Black Lives Matter marches, mixed races, mixed cultures, mixed religions, all walking somewhat in unison to drive a message. It was actually, if you take away what it was and whether you agree with Black Lives Movement Matter or not, it was actually fascinating. But it was interesting to see that once again, one sect of Jewish people stood side by side, as they did with Martin Luther King in the 1960s, for equality. But yet, the Black Lives Matter movement, by the way, doesn't view Jews as a friend. They view them as the enemy. Why? We're white, we're privileged, and we're colonialists, and go on and on and on. And I'm not here to comment about Black Lives Matter, but it's about a mindset, about where the Jewish community lies and how we're boxed. And the crazy thing is, the question that I posed on Friday was, are Jews white? And this is not a new topic. The Atlantic wrote about this right at the beginning of the Trump administration. Are Jews white? Because there was a question of, where does this one group lie? Because the truth of the matter is, the stereotypical Jew in Western society is a white individual who originated in Eastern Europe. And frankly, that's where my family's from. That's where Stuart's family's from. But we're not, we're white, sort of. But what do we do with the African Jews? What about the ones who came from Morocco or the Middle East, for that matter, Iraq, Iran, olive-skinned individuals? What do we do with Ethiopian and Sudanese Jews who are Black? Mm-hmm. Today, the interesting thing is that when you talk about that, Jews, more American Jews are actually trending to say that they're no longer white, which I know he's like, how's that possible? But if you look at the numbers, Jews are no longer a white race. It's not homogeneous white. But for racist purposes, we're white. And we have to be placed in the bucket because Jews are unique. They're not geographical race. They're not a physical race. They're this weird race, this religion business, and gets in the way. So why are Jews, Stuart, shoved into the white box, and we're positioned as everyone's common enemy?
You know, it's surprisingly, I was able to stay quiet for more than 5 minutes there. I'm sorry, Dave. Okay, first of all, the Jewish identity in America is inherently paradoxically and contradictory. You know, on one hand, I look white just like David looks white. And in actuality, we are white, right? However, according to someone who wants a white country, we're not considered white. Now, this also dates back into history how Jews wanted to be considered white because they weren't allowed into the United States. Under the Naturalization Act of 1790, right, they were considered to be a free white person would be able to naturalize and come into the United States.
And
And
own
so,
property
right,
and
and own
this.
property, right. And again, that was a free white person. Look at my air tags, right? Bunny ears. And it's something that's very important. But unlike Asians and African American immigrants, late night Jews retain the claim as being what's called Caucasian. First of all, there is only three races, right? There's Caucasian, there's Mediterranean, and then there's Negro. I can't even say it. Negroization. Right? So basically, it's not a real race. You know, there is one race, the human race, right? And I
Correct.
think that's where, you know, this all gets bent out of shape. Now, for government purposes, you're Caucasian or you're not Caucasian. That's government purposes. And I wanted this topic, are Jews white? You know, the same thing, are Muslims white? You know, we are in a modern area. I see Bal is yes, there are three races, Bal. I agree with you. But the fact of the matter is, Jews immigrated into this country as being white because we sort of fit in. But we were still then, well, you know, we're not really white because we were excluded from country clubs. We were excluded from jobs. We were excluded for all kinds of different things. But the black community, right, because it's other than white, is black, looked at us as being white privilege. So here you got a group of people that immigrated into the United States and are a part of the United States like everyone else, but we were considered to be not so white. So on a document, started a conversation and a search. And I actually called a couple of rabbis. One very outspoken rabbi to the right named Shapiro, you know, he says we're 100% white. And buying into a neo-Nazi Aryan white was another political hack. Because, you know, Adolf Hitler had this idea that Jews weren't white, weren't Aryan white. And his argument is he's not a doctor, not a scientist, and definitely dead because of it. So as a result, let's move forward. You know, there is under Title VII of the Civil Rights Acts, Jews are considered a racial group that is sometimes discriminated against. Therefore, are we white? You know, it goes on and on. I mean, there are different cases, different groups over time. You know, if you go to the Anti-Defamation League, absolutely we're white. But, you know, if you go to Israel, there are 100 countries of origin for people that live in Israel, and they're all Jewish. So the question is, are Jews white? And it's mind boggling to answer that question because I could say sometimes yes, depending on the question, and some ways I can say no because the facts remain that we're still being persecuted because we're Jewish. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're black or you're Caucasian, what are you? So if I'm white and being persecuted, and a black person looks at a white Jew as being white privilege, so am I just other? You know, is other not the right thing to checkbox? Because you know what? Jews never tried to be white or not white because they're white, black, green, orange, Asian. I mean, we're everything. Jew and Jewish people are from all nations today, right? So are Jews white? I don't know. Dave, why don't you jump in a little bit?
You know what? I'll tell you what's really hard to believe is we need to categorize everybody. Everybody's got to fit into a box.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's either you're with me or you're against me. And this is what this has become. This is what the racism has become. This is where critical race theory has kind of, forced us even more to think of everybody as a race, and the color of the skin is that matters until it no longer matters. And I'll tell you something, as a proud Jewish person, I am sick and tired of being thrown out of any, and I mean any, category. Now, I'm going to tell you a funny story, Stuart. As you know, I give a lecture at McGill, and I have to reapply every year for my position because I'm not a full tenured professor. And the questions were I be willing to answer a question about my ethnicity? And I clicked that yes by accident. And the first question was, I identify as what race? White? Black? Indigenous? I went, what? Why? Then it at no point, and the sad part is that if I put myself as white, I'm in a category of the majority. If I put myself in non-white, then what are you? I mean, it's like, this is absolutely asinine. But the point of the what are Jews white argument is that we can't get a break any which way we go.
No.
We are not allowed to be part of a global societal group because our religion puts us in that position. Folks, I'm not here to vilify anybody.
No.
But when I'm standing with, the white, in the women's march, and Alinda Sarsour stands up and says, you guys are the enemy. How? And if I'm in Black Lives Matter walking and I'm told you're the enemy,
yeah,
how? Like, yeah. And then wait a second. And then there are a bunch of white groups, and I'm not talking about ultranationalists, but I'm saying white groups that hate Jews, and we're like, no. So, like, where do we fit in?
David, look, I'm going to sketch one big thing. Being white is not just a matter of identifying as white. It involves being treated as white. And that was the whole thing dating back to the 17th century. Right. Because that was what determined your admission and permission to fit in. And the word is assimilate. And you're referring to in 2017, they were chanting, I'm trying to think, where was it? They were trying to take down a statue, and they were chanting, Jews will not replace us, as a thing, as white supremacy. Look, anti-Semitism.
But at the same time, Stuart, but all those pro-Palestinian marches, how many people carried placards that says kill the Jews? Like, there are Jews who are walking, I'm sorry, whether I agree with the Free Palestine movement or not, there were Jews walking with them, supporting a Free Palestine, and people carrying around sign, kill Jews.
Well, Larissa Sarsour. Right?
So Linda Sarsour is one of those enemies of the state who's a proof of taking advantage of being a woman and to try to vilify the Jew as the evil, as the enemy. What I'm trying to get at is I am sick and I am tired of the abandonment. We are, you said it right, the human race.
Yeah.
But we're not human.
And you know what? You mentioned Martin Luther King and, Black Lives Matter. Martin Luther King, Black Lives Matter is trying to hijack the civil rights movement. And I think anyone who's of color should be disgraced by this.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Jews and where we are.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you brought up the civil rights movement. And, and it's because of the civil rights movement that we're technically a race. Jews are people. We all stem from Adam and Eve. If you have any religious background, that's how this world started. And we're all from the same, whether we're Mizrahi, we're Arab, we all started, Jews began in Egypt, and that's where the 70 tribes come from. Then there was, black tribes.
No, we're 12 tribes, 70 people. That's okay. Bal, you'll have to help him with the Bible studies. But Stuart, I'm going to tell you something. One of our dear friends,
Yeah.
her mother was a Lebanese Jew.
Yeah.
So
Not
you
too many
tell
of them
me
left.
how Sophie, may she rest in peace, was she white? She would tell you she wasn't white. And I'll tell you, there are many of my son's friends who are Ethiopians who will say they are proud to be Jewish and black. Give me a break. Give me a break. Folks, I hear by the sound of the theme that we're not going to resolve this problem. But
we
Jews
didn't even get
are
to the
not,
topic.
the Jews are Jews white. We want to hear back from you because we're done.
Exactly. But I just want to say one thing. On any box that doesn't say Caucasian and it asks for my race or ethnicity, I now check off other. Just so you know.
Good for
I
you.
do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. We're on Facebook Live. We're on our YouTube channel right now. Come to the Rant Network YouTube channel. All of our videos are there. All your favorite places to get your podcasts. Go download us. People are downloading us and loving what we're doing, and we'd love for you to share the love and the word. On Wednesday, imagine, if you will, you've spent $250,000 in a 4-year education only to find out that it really wasn't necessary. Why? Because employers are desperate for talent and they don't really care anymore about your education. What the hell happened here? And does that mean that universities are in trouble? Wednesday, noon Eastern, Stuart and I are going to debate the merits now of post-secondary education in a post-COVID world. With that, we wish you all the safe